So there's an unreal amount of football performances of the decade individually. How we're going to pick one, I don't know. But a good place to start has to be one of the most recent ones, which is Jack McCaffrey and the drawn All-Ireland final against Kerry. 1-3 for all from play, up centre forward at times, just versatile player, and also delivering when you're under the gun.
1-3 or 1-2?
I think it was 1-3.
I remember going back looking at the goal.
Yeah.
And he started on the 21-yard line, the Hogan stand side, right at the touchline, and 15 seconds later he put the ball in the Kerry net on their 14-yard line. It was 15 seconds, like, for probably about 130-metre run, I'd say. It's just unbelievable. It was just an unbelievable performance. It probably doesn't get much better, especially for a wing back. Like, and to think that McCaffrey is that good that people are. What was one of the big questions going into the replay? Are Kerry going to man mark Jack McCaffrey, who's playing wing back? Like, that's how good he is.
There was all the talk about bringing Stephen O'Brien to mark him instead of trying.
Yeah. Like, it's just, and it's unreal, and this has happened several times. He's had so many massive games. Even Cork earlier on this year in the qualifiers, he was savage as well.
Donny Shine against Sligo. If we go back to 2010, do you remember Sligo had done the dirty work by beating Galway and Mayo in the championship?
That's right,
Sligo came in the other side. Sligo had done the dirty work. Roscommon came in the other side. Donny Shine kicks 10 out of 14 points.
He's an unbelievable place kicker in particular, but just he's an unbelievable kicker of a ball. Yeah, I went to watch Clonagale in the county final in 18, and I think he kicked double figures and just didn't miss a free from 50 yards in. Like, he was savage.
Yeah, and Jack McCaffrey did score 1-3. Just
my apologies.
Bernard Brogan against Mayo in 2013, scoring 2-3.
Yeah.
Both goals were with the hands. One was a fisted ball that I think the delivery came a little bit short, and he fisted it in over the goalie and defender. Then the other one was a Dennis Bastick running through and balled it off to him, and he palmed in the net. But brilliant performance in All-Ireland, got man of the match.
He's an iconic big game player. He just always delivered in big games. Well, invariably he did, you know.
A big game where plenty of Dubs didn't really deliver in was 2014, the last time they were beaten. Ryan McHugh, unbelievable performance that day for Donegal, knocking Dublin out.
2-2 was it? Did he get 2-2 I think the same day? But like, they were going to need something like that, and even McGuinness had said it after, that they needed to deliver on something with someone like that needed to come up and deliver a performance like that, and he did, and they were just two kind of sucker punches as well. I think Dublin were 9-4 up. I think 9 or
7-2.
Yeah, definitely 7-2. Flynn and Connolly had kicked a load of long range points, and Donegal looked like they were in big trouble, and then McHugh stepped forward, and it was just, it's unbelievable even looking back at it now. It was like Dublin were just left kind of ransacked.
They were, yeah.
They really were.
Colin McFadden scored 1-3 that day. Murphy scored 3 points himself. But yeah, it was all about Ryan McHugh, so there's no doubt that he has to get the nod here.
Another fella who, when he plays wing back, is often man-marked as well. Like.
But like, wing back is, like, if you're playing wing forward, a lot of the time you're further up the field facing backwards. But when you're wing back, you're a little deeper, but you're facing forward, coming onto things.
Well, I've often thought, like, I play wing back in football, and I've played in the forward a couple of times, and just because what you said, like, your back is to the ball, you're deeper, I would score as much from wing back as I would from wing back, or from wing forward, or even corner forward.
David Moran against Mayo in the 2014 All-Ireland semi-final replay down in Limerick. Was it something like he had 4,000 touches of the ball in the game? Like, he was outrageous, I mean, at the time.
He's one of those lads, when he's in form, you just can't get the ball around him.
Yeah,
like, he just wins everything that's in that area. Yeah, he was savage. Of course, that same day, Kieran Donaghy was unbelievable that same day. Remember, did he win the penalty for O'Donoghue? But he basically just changed the game. He gave Dirk Cafferty an awful going over actually the same day.
He was thrown to the wolves at the same time. Yeah. He was letting no protection around him.
So Donaghy played the last 10 minutes of the drawn game, played unbelievable in the replay, and then scored the goal against Donegal in our final, and then ended up getting an All-Star.
A couple of guys for Donegal against Cork in 2012 both stood out to us, like we nominated him separately here. I went for Mark McHugh against Cork in 2012. I just remember being tired watching him running up and down. He was sitting on his own square, but he was up at the far square just regularly throughout the game.
Yeah, Neil Gallagher, I remember Cork were very strong in midfield at the time, and he was just a Colossus, yeah. Again, it was like the classic midfielders, like Moran. They just, no matter where they put the ball, anywhere around the middle, if it was contested, Gallagher was going to win it or break it. He was unreal.
And he was a good man to jump between full forward and midfield.
Yeah, and McGuinness had him eating like 5 dinners a day there at one stage. He had to put on a load of kilos. He said he needed to put on weight to play midfield at intercounty. So yeah, he was unreal in fairness.
We've got a bit of an unusual one here. It's from a league final in 2012, Division 3 league final between Longford and Wexford. Adrian Flynn.
Yeah, the Panther, yeah. Unbelievable. 5 points from play from wing back, and there were a variety of different scores by all accounts. And I think he was on David Barden, who was one of Longford's best players at the time as well. Like, to score 5 points from play in the forward line is fair going, to score it from defence. But it just does show you though, sometimes going forward like that, that can be more of an asset than if you're actually in the forward line.
And they played them so often around that particular time. I remember having to go to a few of these games, covering them for the paper. And Adrian Flynn said afterwards, one of the lads there said there in the dressing room, Longford are like a bad ex-girlfriend, you just can't shake them off.
Yeah, they played them some times, in fairness, yeah.
Diarmuid Connolly against Castlebar Mitchells, the 2014 All-Ireland. I mean, Castlebar probably came up fancying themselves much like they would have against Ballyboden not long after that. But 2-5 from Connolly. Was that probably it had to be his very best day in a club jersey anyway?
Ah, yeah, it probably was.
Possibly both. Like, had he a better performance with Dublin?
See, I kind of remember
2011.
Tyrone 2011, very good. Yeah. I kind of remember Connolly's Dublin career. Like, it's not over yet, obviously, but it's glimpses probably I remember. It's, at that point off the left from the touchline against Kerry when they were down a point going into injury time. Remember that in the 17 semi-final, was it? It's kind of more glimpses like that. But if you're talking about an overall performance in a game of a really high magnitude, that was savage, yeah.
A bit like Brian Fenton against Kerry, albeit obviously not with the same amount of scoring, but against Kerry in 2015, fairly dominant performance. Yeah,
and David Moran was favourite for Footballer of the Year before that match. And I think I'd be right in saying, did he get an All-Star that year after? I'm actually not 100% certain. But Fenton, that was when everybody knew he was kind of coming, but that was when he totally announced himself on the national stage. He was unbelievable. And look at what we've seen since, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 5 All-Ireland wins, 3 All-Stars, Footballer of the Year. That was kind of when he announced himself on the stage.
Anthony Maher ended up getting an All-Star beside.
That's right, yeah. Maher played well in the rain that day, yeah.
You know the way, like, all the League Keegan versus Diarmuid Connolly games, they start to meld into one after a while. When we're trying to think, there was one game there where Keegan was unbelievable against Connolly. I think it might have been the 2016 drawn game, because he was brilliant at the start of the replay, but of course ended up getting the black card. And this was after scoring the goal. He was sending Connolly, who at that stage was definitely the most talented player on the circuit. But I'd say it was probably that draw one in 2016, which came after cleaning out Sean Kavanagh, cleaning out Michael Quinlivan. All players who were absolutely sensational.
Yeah, he basically marked the opposition's nearly most deadliest kind of forward in all those games, yeah.
And he did attend Smith another day against Roscommon.
That's right, yeah.
We can't look past Diarmuid O'Connor in the Newbridge or Nowhere game when Mayo were knocked out by Kildare in 2018. That was some performance. That was just like,
it was just a lad that just was picking a team up. Mayo were kind of bet at that stage, They were on it looked like they were on their last legs for that season anyway, and it turned out obviously that was the last match under Stephen Rochford. But he lorded at midfield, and I think, did he kick 4 points as well, or Paddy Durkin kicked 4 points. But Diarmuid O'Connor just put them on his shoulders and tried to carry them across the line. He wasn't able to, unfortunately, because the whole swell of momentum was with kind of Kildare, but he was just, he's phenomenal at the same time.
Another one of these players, you'd nearly feel like pulling up with cramp yourself just watching.
Yeah.
Kieran Kilkenny in the replay of the 2019 All-Ireland hadn't been overly influential in the drawn game.
Hadn't done much in the drawn game, to be fair. But what did he kick? He kicked 4 points, and you knew from like 2 minutes in, he got the ball and just took on his man and put it over the bar, and you're just thinking, this is a different sort of Dublin altogether, and he kind of set the tone for them for the day, really.
Didn't it feel like that was like he's finally doing what we thought you should have been doing for 5 years, rather than obviously he was given the role of recycle the ball and move it around and bring other people into play, but this felt like the first time he went back to what he originally came on the scene as in 2012, scoring 3 points from play, that he actually finally did the thing that it's pretty obvious that he can do.
And funny enough, in the 18 All-Ireland final, that was the first All-Ireland final that Kieran Kilkenny scored from playing.
Really?
Yeah. And then he scored 4 points in the replay this year. Yeah, he was class, yeah, in fairness. We've all seen him going laterally and seen how good he is at holding on to the ball, but that's probably what you want to see him doing more of. I think he said beforehand that someone just said to him, just don't forget to kick a few points. Do you know what I mean? Because he's almost like hadn't been used to shooting earlier that year.
Yeah, Kilkenny 4 points from play from 4 shots.
Yeah, savage.
It's not bad going.
Like, yeah.
David Clifford against Monaghan in 2018, you were a big fan of that one.
Yeah, it was a big fan because they were under pressure. They were under serious pressure. And
they weren't a good team at that particular
they weren't, no, and they needed a result to stay in the championship. And everyone remembers the goal, and the goal was unbelievable. But he kicked a point about 5 minutes before that to keep a goal in it. And it was one of the best scores I've ever seen scored under pressure. It is unbelievable, yeah. That was just kind of, again, it was another
1-3 score.
Performance of defiance, really.
Yeah,
you know?
like to score last second, like Kieran Donaghy knocked down a high ball to him last second.
But there was nowhere for it to go. There was nowhere for it to go, you know.
And it can't just be a fluke. A player like that keeps
finding
right.
Not when you keep doing it. No, not when you keep doing it.
Sean Murphy against Dublin in 2017. Tireless performance again. And they lost 17 points to 9. But came away with great credit, and he was one of the main men. The thing is, right, I did an interview since with Brendan Murphy, the other Carolyn midfielder, and he was saying that beforehand he'd been working on the farm. Sean Murphy had been working on the farm, and they were going to do a walk around and a warm up in a field adjacent to Dr. Cullen Park. And he said that Sean Murphy was lying down on the ground at one stage. He actually even had his eyes closed. He was so tired after being farming. And then he goes out and gives an absolute exhibition of a performance. And because he's a bit of a shy lad, he wouldn't do the interview on Sky Sports afterwards.
Right, yeah. The one thing, like a lot of people give out with the Sky Sports deal, it was great that match in particular was televised, because people wouldn't have seen, like, that's probably inspired generations in Carlow for years to come, and everyone will remember his performance. Like, the speed of him. He was like, it was the first time I've ever seen a lad dusting a couple of Dublin lads, like, for speed.
I think he buried someone with his shoulder at one stage. So.
Yeah.
And then Kevin Cassidy against Kildare in 2011. I was at this game. Kildare Donegal All-Ireland quarter-final, and the atmosphere was unbelievable. And it's probably more than just his winning point, though, isn't it?
He was brilliant the same day, yeah. He was savage the same day. And it was that wasn't a particularly high scoring game. It was a tight kind of defensive game, and he was one of the players that was to the forefront. The point is what you kind of remember it for, but it was everything that came before. It was unbelievable. He was class the same day. And then to kick a point from well outside the range that you would have expected anyone to score from was just savage. And I think Emma Bolton, like they said, he was like a fingertip away from getting a block on it as well, you know. It was class.
We're going to have to pick a moment or an individual performance of the decade, though. It's hard, though. And like, there's obviously ones that we haven't even mentioned that, feel free to message them in, and we'll possibly talk about them later on. But how do you pick one from that?
I tell you what, I always try to go back to ones that I was there in person to see, because you can kind of see how good it was. And it was high profile. It was high profile for all the wrong reasons. But Dermot O'Connor against Mayo, or against Kildare, Newbridge and O'Hare, was unbelievable. And funnily enough, to my shame, I was reporting on that match, and I think I gave Paddy Durkin man of the match, even though Paddy Durkin was unreal and kicked 4 points as well. But it's only when you look back at it after, I actually look back at it and you're just thinking, geez, like, he was on some amount of ball. He was everywhere. And again, funnily enough, much like the hurling when we picked out the best individual display, I find the best displays are when a team is losing and things are tough for them, because that's when you find out really who has the belly for it. Yeah,
I'm torn here, because like, it's so long ago, but Donny Shine's performance that day for Roscommon was out of this world. Sean Murphy, brilliant, because they're under the gun. Kieran Kilkenny doing it in a replay when people are starting to think maybe Dublin are losing it here, maybe some of their players aren't as good as they once were. But I think David Moran against Mayo was a 34 possessions, something like that. People were talking about at the time. I'm going to have to go with Ryan McHugh against Dublin in 2014.
So basically, what you did is you just named out all the ones and kept everyone happy, and then picked one. All right, okay.
Yeah, have me now.
I thought we were putting our head in the block.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying they're all class, but it has to be Ryan McHugh, because Dublin looked pretty much unbeatable. They were in charge. I think Paddy. What's the name of the goalkeeper again? Papa
Durkin, yeah.
Yeah, Paddy Durkin. Paul Durkin. He'd made a great save that from Diarmuid Connolly.
Yeah, I think to stop him going well.
If that
ahead,
went
yeah.
in, it was probably game over. And
Yeah.
then it just turned. Michael Murphy, I think, broke a high ball onto Ryan McHugh, knocks in one goal, gets the other one on the counter attack.
Well, it's like this. Ryan McHugh has done something that nobody else has done, basically, to this Dublin team.
A match-winning performance.
A match-winning performance against the Dubs in a championship game.
Yeah, you have to go all the way back to 2012 for anyone else doing it, which was the semi-final
Yeah.
against Mayo. Mad to think. Right, let us know if there's anything, any performance that we missed.